Hindu.
Well, the first person President Obama hugged when he landed on Indian soil was US Ambassador Timothy Roemer, and he's with me right here on Ndtv Hindu. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us.
Sanjay.
An
Nice
honor
to
to
see
be
you.
with you.
Great to be with you.
Thank you so much. If I can first ask you about the WikiLeaks, I mean, that's doing the rounds everywhere. Coming close on the heels of that brilliant visit of the President to India, do you think it's a little embarrassing and damaging at this stage?
Well, I've made an official comment on this. We strongly condemn these leaks. They risk human rights accomplishments. They risk people's lives. We strongly condemn their impact on our ability to conduct diplomacy in almost every wake of life, for journalists, for you, for a doctor, for a teacher. There are private conversations that take place, that need to take place in order to interact and do business.
Bring to your notice certain specifics of these leaks, sir. One is, of course, this cold start doctrine that is attributed to you, and some comments that you made about India's willingness to do that, to that limited penetration, limited deterrent effect within 72 hours of a crisis. Also, another supplementary question. Mrs. Clinton is supposed to have said that India is a self-styled front-runner of the UN Security Council seat. Do you think this is actually making us do a foxtrot on these two issues?
No, I'd bring you back to what you said when you opened up the interview, is that the President had an historic and seminal visit to the Great Republic of India. He talked about unequivocal support for India's seat on the United Nations, a permanent seat on the United Nations Council. It's not little tidbits of information that might be floating out there on the internet. It's what you do. We have a saying from where I'm from in the Midwest of the United States. It's not what you say, it's what you do. It's what action you take. And when the President of the United States came to India and interacted with his good friend, Dr. Manmohan Singh, they announced a series of new global partnerships and accomplishments for the two countries to work on. That should be, and that is the focus of what our mission works on, what we engage the Indian government on. And by the way, I'd just like to say, I would compliment, highest compliment to the Indian government for their reaction to these supposed leaks. It's been highly responsible, deeply constructive, and very mature.
Is anything being done or contemplated as far as arresting the effect of these leaks? Any damage control in
Sanjay, you asked a good question. The important question as a former member of the 9/11 Commission. First of all, you need to stop the leaks from taking place, and we have in incarceration somebody that we believe is responsible for it. We hope to vigorously prosecute this person. This is an attack on the international community. It's an attack on peaceful and productive diplomacy, something that all countries want to engage in. It's a way of doing business to prevent war and prevent conflict. And when groups or individuals attack that process and put people's lives at risk, and potentially people could die from attacks or terrorist bombings or threats to people's lives for these things, this is not constructive at all for the world community. This is not helpful or positive in any way.
Critics would wonder as to why America is so interested in India's military strategy. Some even go to the extent of saying, is the US batting for Pakistan?
Again, the president's been very clear on this. Look at what the president says about these things. And when the president was in India, the president talked about a cancer that is in Pakistan, and that Pakistan needs to address this cancer, be more focused on it, be less focused on India, and more focused on their internal threat of groups like Al-Qaeda and the Candid network and Lashkar-e-Taiba. The president in this new Woodward book is quoted as saying in the Oval Office to President Zardari of Pakistan, he says very directly, in quotes, "I will not be part of any kind of military buildup against India." Take him at his word, and those are the kind of things that you should be paying attention to.